I have to make you work for it. You know that.
That's right. That's right. The compliments, you have to just wait for them. That's
Exactly.
right. Yeah. For those of you who don't know Amy Koko, are any of you familiar with Amy or Amy's work? No. Surprised, because she's really famous.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Now, Amy is a wonderful writer and a blogger. She is a humorist, and her, oh, I don't have your book right here in front of me. I should. Her memoir is called There's Been a Change of Plans, and it's really great, and it's very funny. And her blog is called Ex-Wife New Life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been blogging on that lately?
You know, I haven't blogged since my dad got sick. I just can't, you know, get back into it, but I will, because I do have a lot to write about now.
I'm sure.
It has to hit me and then I'll be there.
Now, when did you start that blog, Amy? It's been years, right?
Oh my gosh, 2011.
2011. So
yeah.
That right there is a feat, because a lot of people will, you know, there's a lot of people that start blogs and then after a year or two, they just go away. And but yours has really evolved. And anyway, I'm going to let Amy introduce herself and tell a little bit about herself, and then we'll just go around so she can meet each of you. And Amy, we're missing two people tonight because their sons are both getting married, oddly enough. And they both thought that was more important than this.
That's ridiculous.
Not sure why, but
each other. How crazy.
You know, it's
in the same town.
Already I'm going to, you know, mark them off as bad students, but anyway, so go ahead, Amy, why don't you take the floor for a few minutes and just tell about yourself, and then we'll go around and everyone can. All right.
So obviously you guys, Rebecca said my name. And so in about, let me think, I guess it was about 2009, 2010, I had been married for 27 years with 4 children. And my husband was like, bye. And he decided to leave. He found Ed. Actually, she was a Swiss pastry chef. So I really, you know, couldn't really fault him that much. But it was a horrendous, you know, life event. And it was, you know, I got married when I was 20. I didn't finish college, raised my kids, had my 4 children. I was 48 and really did not know what the world was even like out there. You know, I lived a very traditional, I stayed home, I took care of the kids, I never worked. And so it was quite a eye-opening experience, to say the least. And then I had a few little jobs, and I got into real estate, and it really wasn't, you know, I'm not a salesperson. And so my boss said, you go to Starbucks and you don't come back until you have the name of 3 people that are interested in buying homes. So I went to Starbucks and I had my computer, and I really just started writing my blog then. And I don't think I really ever did sell a house, but I started the blog, and then it just kind of went from there. And then it's just gone on through my life in the last few years. And then that's how the book was born, from that blog. And it really just lays it out there, you know. It's very humorous. That's just kind of the way my writing came out. And it just lays it out there from start to finish to where I was then when the book ended, which was, I think it came out in 2015. So it was right about then. So it was a work of love, and it really wasn't that hard to get it out. Putting it into a form that people would read was hard. The editing and the rewrites is hard, but just getting it all out there, and it really kind of came sort of naturally.
So how long were you writing the blog, Amy, before you decided there's a book here?
I guess 2 years.
2 years. Okay. Yep. Yep. And that does happen. I mean, I've heard that's the story before, where blogs will turn into a book, or you know, and now you're the editor has your first fiction book, right? You finished your novel, so now she's working on a fiction book, which is that kind of based on you, or not really?
No, not based on, you know. I mean, a little bit takes place in my town here, but not really.
Yeah.
I will say that going from blog to book, I mean, that is not easy. You really just can't take your blogs and make a book out of them. What made me do it was that I started getting a lot of emails and things from women that were going through what I had gone through. And I wrote it really because I wanted, when I was going through it, all my friends were married. They were all happily, most of them are divorced now, but then they were all married. And I was like I was like the only one. And there was really nothing out there to read that was like for a normal person that just wasn't an actress that. And so that's kind of why I wrote it, because I wanted to be able to reach those women.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So that's great. Thank you for sharing that. And Amy lives in St. Pete, Florida. Yeah, that's where she lives and writes in Florida. And she'll be joining us here and there. You might not see her face as much, but you will see her comments on your work. And like I was saying, I think I was talking about this with Katie, that, you know, what I see, Amy and I have worked together editing things before, and what I see is very, very different than what Amy sees. I mean, and her whole perspective is very different, because she comes from she writes a lot of humor, and she keeps things very like, not that it's just humor, but she sees things in a different way than I see things. So so I feel like we have a really nice partnership in that way. You'll benefit from that. So anyway, thanks, Amy. Let's just go around the room real quick so you can see who everybody else is here, except for there's 2 people missing. I think I told you, and they're going to come in.
You did mention that. You did mention it, yes.
I did mention that. Okay. Oh, that's right, because of the weddings. That's right. I'm hung up on that. Can you tell? I'm really pissed off about that. No, this is recorded, so they're going to listen to that and think that I'm really pissed at them, but I'm not. Margaret and Elizabeth, I totally get it. Anyway, so let's just go around, and I always say start with the shortest hair, which is looking like you, maybe, Patty. Why don't you go first?
Unmute here. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm in Rhode Island and so excited for tonight. I'm nervous too. I'm a mother of 2 grown children who are married and have both given me 2 beautiful grandchildren, so I have 4 total. And like you, Amy, a little bit different situation. I was married 34 years, so I have you beat.
You sure do.
We divorced 3 or 4 years ago now. So still, like, that takes it's a long process to kind of find your way and be who you are. Like, I was married at 18, had my first baby at 19.
Oh, wow.
And so that was really my whole life. So now this is my life by myself. So it's very interesting. I love to write. Rebecca gifted me this beautiful book, Still Writing. And within the first 10 pages, I was crying. I was like, this is me. And I didn't know this was me. So it says, what I do know, what I've spent the last couple of decades learning about myself, is that if I'm not writing, I'm not well. If I'm not writing, the world around me is slowly leached of its color. My senses are dulled. If I'm not writing, my heart hardens rather than lifts. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I love to write. And if I look back on my life, those are my brightest, happiest, most connected moments. So I'm so excited to be here with all.
Thank you. I put in the chat there the book that she's talking about. It's called Still Writing by Dani Shapiro. Dani Shapiro is a wonderful memoir. She has a lot of books on her that she has written, and that one is my favorite because that one is a book for writers about writing. So and Patty's a yoga teacher as well, and and are you teaching these days, Patty?
Yes, I'm a teacher of English as a second language as well. So we're in school with our masks on, and it's a wild ride, but we're doing it. And so, yeah, life is interesting.
So you're actually in school, it's not virtual, you go? Oh, really? Okay.
I'm going.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay, good for you. Wow. And it's ESL, it's English as a second language? Is that what you said? Wow, good for you. Well, thanks, Patty. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for showing up and being here. Looking forward to your work. Yeah. So she's taking her hair. Rebecca's trying to prove that her hair is longer. That's so funny. Tina, we're going with you.
All right.
Oh, well, you guys, I think you're all pretty much the same, but go
I
for it.
recently got my hair cut a couple of months ago. It was much longer, but okay. So, I don't know if I like to write or not. And, but I know that I guess what my project here would be is to free my voice. I don't, if I did like to write, I think I would do it more. And I don't. So this is a little bit of a scary project for me because I'm at a crossroads in my life. It's been a pretty transformational few years for me in every way possible. My husband died last year, a year ago, but I had left the marriage 6 years prior to that, even though we remained living together for the whole time until he passed away because he got sick shortly thereafter. But I did have a boyfriend in the meantime, and then we recently broke up, and that's where this urge to find my voice, because everything in our relationship was, we're compatible and it was great. First time in my life I was ever in love, and I discovered that at 53. How old was I? 52, 51 maybe? 51. And so that was the first time in my life I was ever in love. I was married since I was with my husband since I was 18, but he was 25 years older than me, but I was never in love with him. It was just my life was born out of fear, and he was something that made me feel safe. So I finally got the strength to leave that marriage, and then I finally allowed myself to be vulnerable and fall in love with somebody. It just turns out that the somebody I fell in love with, we're still best friends. He's on his way over here now, but he just can't be honest, and I discovered that that's like a deal breaker for me. But it took me 6 years. So now I'm in no hurry to get involved with anybody again, but I am in kind of a hurry to discover what my purpose in this life is and what this is about for me, because I don't want to just live a life bouncing around like a ping pong ball from thing to thing. I kind of want to begin to be the author of my own course. And that's what I'm hoping to discover here.
Nice.
I love that, Tina. I love that. Yep. You're writing to find your voice. That's perfect and lovely. And I look forward to that, to hearing more from you too. I told everybody else, I don't know if you were here, Amy, Tina and I have known each other for 20 something years, probably. Yeah, she was Camila's teacher when Camila was 3 years old, preschool. So yeah, so we've known each other for a long time. And Tina's in California.
Okay.
I think I was more Ollie's teacher than
Oliver
Camila.
too. That's right. Camila was in the school, but then Oliver too. Yep, my son. Yep, both of them. Yep, that's right. You knew Oliver when he had all those curls.
Oh, so cute. He's such a sweet boy. Yes.
He shaves it off, but
yeah.
Whatever. That's great. Thanks for sharing that, Tina. Wonderful. Patty, back to you just real quick. Do you have anything in any intention in terms of writing? Were you for being in this group? I mean, is your idea a memoir, or is your idea just writing, just freeing? I mean, did you have anything like that you thought you were going to do in terms of writing for the group?
No, but I've thought about a lot of things over the years, and I just did Corona Chronicles with you, and there was like this little children's book born. So
that's right. I remember that. Yep.
But and then I would like to write for teens, particularly for ESL students.
Yep.
But I think I really want to write a book for adults, and more of a memoir, or a fictional based on kind of thing.
Great. Okay. I just didn't want to. I'd forgotten about that. I knew you were in Corona Chronicles, but I forgot about the children's writing thing that just kind of came to you naturally, which is cool. Wonderful. Great. All righty. That's awesome. Thanks, Tina. Katie in Texas.
Yeah, that's weird for me. I grew up in Alaska, so there's always this like, we're twice the size of Texas situation, and now I live here, so I don't say anything about it. Yeah, my project is a solo show. I was a professional actor for 15 years, and last year I took a job with the Screen Actors Guild. I volunteered a lot as a member. and was an advocate for my own career and others, and then gave up my card to take this job and move to Texas. And part of that is I hate LA. I wasn't inspired there creatively. But I met my husband almost 5 years ago, and we've been trying to get pregnant for 4 years, and found ourselves on an IVF fertility journey. So making lifestyle changes, career changes, all that to finance and sort of set ourselves up if we have to adopt and do all that nonsense. But and in between there, I got my master's. So I was going to, the gift for myself finishing my master's was to get back into acting, like an acting class just for myself. But Corona hit, and I just can't, I'm in front of a screen all day, and I just can't get it, do more of that in an acting class. So yeah, I sort of started writing this, but I'm just having a hard time with the structure of being creative. And I feel very lonely anyways. I'm lonely in my job. I'm lonely in this state. And, you know, writing can be kind of a lonely thing. And I love acting because it's collaborative. So yeah, I'm a little nervous because I'm still like in the process. I don't know where this journey is ending. I'm actually starting shots tonight for my 4th egg retrieval. And, you know, on different types of hormones, up and down, whatever. But I said to one of my girlfriends the other night, I was telling her about this, that I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do this. Because I don't know if at the end of this fertility journey, I'll like have a baby, but I could damn well have a show. So yeah.
Absolutely. Something will be birthed for sure.
I know, and all this like birthing and born, and this project's my baby. It's like, you know, great, but also like, yeah, you know, but don't stop.
Yeah, yeah. You're in safe, supporting company, Katie. I will say that. And I just want to say that too, as a blanket for everybody, that in this group, from tonight going forward, we are going to keep whatever is said and done in this group. We, you know, I mean, I know we all know that, but I always just like to verbalize that so that we all know that this is a safe place, because things will come up. And, you know, as Amy, you didn't say it, but I'm going to say it for you, that writing is healing. And I'm sure that when you were writing your memoir through your divorce, you were healing through your writing. And yeah, and I mean, I truly believe that. And so I think that will be, and Patricia as well, all of you, but that is something that you will get healing from. Guaranteed. I believe that. I believe I can guarantee that. Anyway, so thank you, Katie, for sharing. And now it's the long-haired Rebecca. Go for it. Yes, go.
Thank you. I think Katie actually has longer hair. It was just because I was pulling it up.
I gotta say, I'm so sorry. It's so weird because this is the longest my hair has ever been. I grew up with the smiling bangs, the hair to here. My ears were freezing on the playground. I've never had, this is the Corona hair, and it's all a lie. I dye it. So there you go.
We've all had our own hair issues through Corona. I could probably write a short story about that one.
Yeah, the Corona hair. That's great. I think there could be a book out there, a collection of stories of women just called Corona hair, because we've all done something with our hair, our Corona hair. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so, Rebecca, you're on.
Yes. So my name is Rebecca also. I'm from Rhode Island, and I'm 48 years old. I work in the insurance industry, personal lines. I'm basically an underwriter, if you're familiar with that. Interesting that it has the word right in it. I've been doing that for almost 21 years. I also grew up always writing. I think in hindsight, I recognize it. Like the first time you could have a pen pal and you wanted to write. And of course, you know, we passed notes in class. And back then, all your essays and everything were handwritten. But I was always doing very, very well. In fact, I I was always commended for my good writing or grammar, whatever they considered to be good. I loved writing. When I went to college, I grew up in Rhode Island, but I went to college in Northern California in the Redwoods, and no internet. I mean, there might have been internet, but no, we weren't using that. So we were still writing letters. I loved writing letters. And I notice now when I go back to them, they are a lot of stream of consciousness and just like babbling on, and I draw little things and tell little stories. So anyway, I liked writing. So I've also written some poems, and I just like creative writing. In my position, in my job, when I got into managerial things, I absolutely write all the time. So whether it's communicating, but it's heavy writing. So it's, business writing. There is a little bit creative writing, because while I'm an underwriter, I am involved with training some of that craft, and and customer service related things. And I am in charge for years now. I've been working with a group or leading a group where we do like PowerPoints on different skill sets to like embrace customers or whatever the deal is. And I'm really OCD about the script, I guess is what it comes down to. I recognize that grammar and things have changed over the years, and like the language of the street becomes the language, but it intrigues me how the language does change. And like, I think the first time I recognized that the dictionary changes their words pretty regularly is like that word. I don't know if you guys ever heard the term, but like ginormous, like giant and enormous. And something like that was in the dictionary as what is going on here? But then it's like, okay, well, this makes sense. We don't all speak like Shakespeare did back then. The language changes. So I have a love-hate with the writing the scripts. I really feel like I'm the best person to do it. I almost feel like I could be in corporate communications in a way. When I see them write things, I'm, kind of critiquing that. So, but it is a love-hate, because you can just keep making drafts and drafts. And like, when you think it's perfect, you step away a week later, and now you're changing it again. Like, who added all these words in here, So anyway, I'm babbling a little bit, but I just like writing. So I've always said I want to do something, and I'm not quite sure, but what I tend to gravitate to with really no reason other than it's like what I like to read is short stories, which the more I'm reading about really what a memoir is, I think it could end up being like a combination of, in order to make a short story, it's a little chapter of your memoir, but almost like fiction. I don't know. I'm feeling a little vulnerable about just doing the memoir. I feel like if I were to release a memoir or share it with anyone, I'd have to maybe wait till I retire, and then I can like, burn any bridges. My life, I feel, has been a pretty wild ride. I grew up in a very stable home. My parents are still married, 51 years.
Nice.
Parents sent 3 kids to college, so all like the good things there. But in that, there's challenges and successes, friends doing drugs, you try them a little bit, and then maybe, you don't go that way. But I feel like I've skated through a lot of near death kind of experiences, or like that just my life could have turned bad. So I feel like it's kind of a wild ride, like I said, of like successes and failures, challenges, and sometimes riding smooth, positive and negative. I also have a husband who passed away about 8 years ago. It was drug and alcohol related. So that is, it's really kind of the beginning of when I knew there was an opioid problem. And I just feel like I've got a lot that I could share in respect. Like sometimes I think if I did short stories or kind of a memoir, like the chapter, when I think about a story, I think that like it has to have like a point, like what is the story? But because I think that that's more challenging, it could almost be like this, it would be more a concept like around humility, and then bring like some of my own life, maybe some fiction, a little bit of embellishment, or however to make it sound good, So I don't know really what I want to do either, like many of you. I just think I like creative writing. I like reading it. I just feel like I think this is a good opportunity to really dive in and stop saying, I think I want to write something. I like writing. Like, do I really? How's this 6 months going to go? But I'm really looking forward to having like whatever I produce. I'm really looking forward to it. But the figuring out what I want to do and how to do it is tricky. Sometimes I used to say, oh, maybe I'll write a children's book, but that almost seemed like, because that's shorter and easier. I don't really know if it's easier. It's shorter, but
Yeah.
So anyhow, I think from what you've all shared, I think a lot of us share a lot of commonalities with where we're at, maybe not knowing certainly what we want to do, but life experiences, I think, will like lead the way. And I'm looking forward to the next 6 months with all of you.
Nice. Go on here.
You're muted, Rebecca.
Sorry about that. Did you hear what I had to say? I was just saying, Rebecca, that's what the whole first month is going to be. The whole first month, you throw out what you think you want to write or what you think you're going to write. Just know that you're going to get there or not someday. But the whole first month is just total exploration. It's just total, just digging in and doing a writing practice, so things will come up and things will come up and things will come up. So that's what I was saying to you, Tina, earlier too. Just this first month is total blank slate. This first month is really just going to be about freeing your voice. So, so if you think, oh, I might want to write fiction, I might want to write poems, I might want to write nonfiction, children's books, a script, whatever. I mean, I know, Katie, you're going to write your script, but the first, you might not even know what's in it. I mean, that's the whole thing with this first month. It's really just going to be open your mind and let's just see what's there. And then after we've done that, the second month is when we're going to get kind of technical and say, okay, now let's see what you've got and let's see what you're going to go forward with more as a plan rather than just let's keep writing. I mean, if you want to keep writing, obviously you can, but the goal or the intention of this program was that you come out with something that you wanted to come out with. And I say it's a completed first draft. And first draft is just a word that is, everyone has a different definition what that means, but you will, when the month 2 starts, that's when we're going to get like, okay, let's see what you want to do with this stuff. You've had a month to play. Now playtime's over. It's time to work. Not really, but you see what I'm saying. So all of that's great. Amy is, let's just, if anyone has any questions or anything, I know Amy said she had to leave early, so I don't want to keep you here, Amy, with.
7.
Okay, good. You're good. Great. So if anybody had any other questions or comments or anything like that, Patty, I know you had texted me and said you had a couple things that you were wanting to question. First of all, does everybody see what I'm putting in the chat? Do you guys see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Just want to make sure you're all up that. There's my phone number there. There's the name of Amy's book and her.
Can I say one thing really quickly?
Please, yeah.
I don't know if you saw Asia walking behind me here.
I did not.
With the blue hair. Yeah. Right.
No.
So for all of our meetings, I will be in my room. So it'll just be private. There won't be anybody.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, thanks for saying that. Yeah, no problem. My dog is here, so my dog will be listening to everything we're saying. Yeah, no, that's fine, Tina. Thanks. So I put a couple things in the chat there. The book that Patty was referring to, Still Writing by Danny Shapiro. And if anyone else, as we're talking or as somebody else is talking, if you want to say something, just throw it in the chat. So Patty, you had some questions. You had some things that you were.
I think most of my questions will come up as you describe what it's going to be. Like I was, I set up my space because I'm like, wow, I'm going to have to be here for a long time. And, do I have my yoga mat rolled out behind me? How much yoga? Are we handwriting? Are we, word processing? What's your take on that? Stuff like that.
Okay, great. Yeah, great. Yeah, we're going to go over most of that tomorrow, but I'm glad you brought up the space thing because we are going to be, every weekend, we are going to have included meditation and a yoga practice. Now, the yoga practice, first of all, is voluntary. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. We have a thing here in the Zoom where we can go over to another Zoom room. It's pretty cool. So if I'm going to say, okay, we're going to do yoga now, and it's never going to be more than 30 or 45 minutes of yoga. It's not going to be an hour and a half practice or anything like that. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. And it's going to be a very gentle, sometimes it's even just going to be chair yoga. It's even just going to be sitting here and stretching, that kind of a thing. So you don't need a lot of space for the yoga. You can put a mat down. Tomorrow, we are going to have, not tomorrow, Sunday. Sunday, we are going to have a yoga practice that is going to be led by, and I am a yoga teacher, by the way, but I don't teach. I teach a little bit of yoga, but that's not really where I shine. So sometimes I'll be doing a yoga practice with you, maybe a 15-minute thing, but most weekends I've invited other friends of mine, other yoga teachers that will come in. In fact, Patty, I was dying to ask you if you wanted one, but I wanted you to make sure that if you want to be totally on the receiving end, you can. But I have taken classes with Patty, and she is a wonderful, beautiful yoga teacher. So something to think about in the next 6 months. If you say, oh, I'd like to lead a class, please keep that in your mind. But we are going to have one on Sunday with a friend of mine that lives in Santa Fe, Amy, another Amy. I have so many Amy friends. A lot of Amy friends. Amy and Kimberly, two big names, friends. Amy Jones. Patty, do you know Amy? You might have known her when she lived in Rhode Island. No, she's moved to Santa Fe. Anyway, she's going to be teaching our yoga class on Sunday. And it is, it's going to be a yin yoga class. If you guys are familiar with yin, it's slow, it's gentle, it's just very beautiful and relaxing. So you don't have to worry about, I need space to, you know, put my feet up in the ceiling. None of that. This is going to be a very simple, you know, just a gentle yoga, whatever it is. And then every weekend also, we will be doing some form of meditation. And again, the meditation, you can just be right where you are now. You can just be sitting right where you are, and it'll be a 5 or a 10-minute meditation. Every weekend, like I said, I have invited someone on tomorrow. This weekend, tomorrow we have Kim Fuller coming in to do a meditation practice with us. Rhode Islanders might know her. She is, she's a photographer, number one. She calls herself a mindful photographer, and she teaches workshops and classes on mindfulness. And so she's going to come tomorrow and do a yoga mindfulness practice, mindfulness meditation with us tomorrow. And then Sunday we will have a yoga practice. But those things are voluntary, and yet I would say, like, just open yourself up to it, because it's not going to be something that will scare you. And most of the time in my practice of yogic writing that I think you guys are familiar with, I always start out with a meditation or a mindfulness or something to just mellow me out, slow me down, tune me in, and then write. Instead of just going, okay, all right, here's my coffee, here's my this, here's that, I'm gonna write, you know. So that's part of the practice, to just first slow down and then write. So that will be included every time right before we write, we will have some kind of a mindfulness practice. But you don't need a lot of space, so thanks for bringing that up. I wanted to mention that. In the weekend in December, there's another woman that's going to be coming in, another Kimberly McClure, and she's going to come in and do a warrior yoga practice with us. She has a whole thing about women as warriors, and she's going to be doing that with us in December. And in January, the same woman is teaching a mandala workshop with us. So we will be creating mandalas. Amy, you know what a mandala is now, right?
We just learned, yeah.
Pictures, yeah. And so that's going to be, you know, a real creative thing. You would love that, Amy. You said, no, you don't want to do it, but you would love it. It's a hand thing.
Hold on, I think I printed one out. Yeah, I did.
Well, you have one of your jackets. Yeah, there you go. Do you have one of your jackets?
Is that one?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we're going to be doing mandalas, and she is going to be sending you like little kits of all of the stuff that you need. So you don't even have to worry about, oh, I need magazines or this or that. We're going to be creating mandalas, and she's going to be doing that. So I'm going to be threading in. It's not just going to be 6 hours of writing, because that's a lot. You know, that's a lot. So we're going to be threading in some of these other things to just stimulate your creativity, so that when you sit down to write, you know, you're coming from this creative place. You're coming from a real creative source, rather than just, I don't want it to be like more like, Rebecca, what you were talking about. You do a lot of writing in your work and a lot of heavy, you know, technical writing and things like that. I want this to be a place where you can come to your writing from a different place. So
I think it's interesting you say that, because I was thinking that I was portraying, like, I write all the time, but that's why I really think I do want to write, because like now I still want to write after all that.
Yep.
And
exactly. Yep, exactly.
What time are we meeting this weekend?
Okay, so the meeting times, Friday night, we're always going to get together like this from 6 o'clock to 7-ish or whatever, just to, again, before we kick into the weekend. Friday nights are always optional. I call it the Friday night happy hour, you know. Excuse me, you can come with a glass of wine or tea or whatever. There you go, Amy. Yep, I have mine here hidden in a coffee mug. It actually is coffee. But so Friday night.
Here because I'm doing all the fertility stuff.
This is really water. This is not 8 ounces of vodka.
Prove it.
Lemon water. Yep. No judgment. No judgment. Whatever you want to drink, it's all cool. So anyway, Friday night is just touching base. How's everybody doing? Just a complete question, answer, whatever. Saturday, we will get together at 10 o'clock East Coast time. I know I've got a couple of other time frame. Tina, that's 7 in the morning for you. That's super early. Sorry. And Katie, that's what, 9 o'clock for you or 9? Okay. So we start at 10. And then Kim tomorrow is coming in to do the meditation practice with us, I think at 10:45. So we'll have a little bit in the morning before we jump right into that. And we will take an hour break for lunch, somewhere around 12-ish. And then in the afternoon, it'll be 1-ish to 4-ish. So this weekend, because we're not going to be doing a lot of writing this weekend, we're going to be doing, well, we will be doing some, but we might not go until 4 o'clock. It might be a little bit earlier this first weekend. We'll just kind of see how that goes. Sunday, same thing. We get together at 10 in the morning. We will do a yoga practice on Sunday after lunch at 2 o'clock, not in the morning. In the morning, we'll do a write and a meditation. And I'm going to show you on Sunday how the Learn Dash works, which is the website where you download your lesson every day and you upload your writing every day. So that's going to be done, and I'll show you. Everyone has an account. It's already set up for you, and I'm going to show you how to work that on Sunday. So you don't have to, it's not very technical. It's very easy to use. And I'll go through that with you on Sunday. But again, Saturday's 10 to 4 with an hour-ish lunch, and Sunday also 10 to 4. If you can't be here 10 to 4, that's fine. This is going to be open. We're going to be doing some talking, some creative stuff, and then we're going to be doing some, okay, shut up and write. Literally shut up and write. So we're going to be, you got your book, you got your pen, and we are going to be doing some writing. When you do writing and there's people sitting there in front of you also doing writing, you tend to shut up and write. You really do, because you're like, all right, they're doing it, I got to do it. Rather than saying, okay, have fun, everybody, I'll see you at 3 o'clock. And then you're going to walk out of the room and you're going to, go wash the laundry, or you're going to do other stuff. I'm not going to do laundry, but you're going to do whatever you're going to do. So this way, you're accountable to everybody here, and we're all in the same, all in the same place. So that is the schedule. What else do I want to say about that? Sunday, we are going to assign, I used to be a teacher, so some of this you have to just know that this comes from a teacher thing, and if it's too much, then you can back off whatever you want. But Sunday, what we're going to do is we're going to assign accountability partners. So that's why I like even numbers. There's 6 of you. Amy and I will be partners with each other, but there's 6 of you. So I'm going to say, okay, you 2 are going to be partners this month, you 2 and you 2. And all that means is every couple of days, you just send your partner a text. Are you writing? Oh shit, I forgot. So just another little support along the month to say, oh yeah, I got to be doing that. And sometimes you might get into something longer with that person and go off into whatever, and that's absolutely fine. But the idea was just a little bit, I'm holding my phone if you can't see it, just a little bit of a like, hey, how's it going? Good, I'm writing. Are you? Yep, great, done. So don't feel like you have to carry on a big long thing. Just a little check thing. I'll be coming on to the Facebook group probably once a week during the first month, and I'll let you know when that is, and maybe another Zoom if there's a few people that say, this isn't working or whatever, and we'll do that kind of as needed, but at least once a week I'll come on Facebook Live just to check in. Okay, and give you all your grades and your stars. I have like sticky stars for you, not really, but. So that's the schedule part of this. Any other questions on those kinds of things?
I don't have a question on those kinds of things. I have a different question.
Okay.
So if you want to stick to those things as a topic.
One more thing I will say before, and then we'll open it up to you, Katie, or to anyone else. Patty, you mentioned you write by hand, and hence the journal that I sent everybody, because yes, you do write by hand. When you get your writing prompt every day, I 1000% suggest you write it by hand. If you end up putting a little sticky next to it, it means something really cool came out. And then you would go, I'm going to transcribe that onto my computer, onto a document on the computer. And then you can get into editing and playing around with it and adding more and, you know, crafting something out of it. But from the prompt, it goes, you know, as I say, from the mind through the body to the page. From the prompt, it goes by hand onto the page. Okay. Great.
I'm just going to say real quick, because since we're doing memoir, so, and I did the memoir and now I'm doing fiction, which is much, much harder. And the thing that I found out with memoir is the story's already written. The story's already written. All you have to do is tell it. And then you have to figure out how you're going to tell it and what parts of it you're going to, you know, you don't have to tell the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you do have to decide, is it worth telling the story? Because most likely there's going to be people in it that are not going to be happy. So that's an inner conflict that you're going to have to solve, which it wasn't hard for me because I was like, tough shit. But you know, people do get hurt and kind of, and but the story's already there, so you just gotta get it down, and that's actually the fun part. You'll be surprised of what starts coming out and in what style. So,
yeah, I'm really glad you mentioned that. Talk a little bit more about this hurting people's feelings things. I mean, like, how did you deal with that specifically, except for your ex-husbands, but other people, your children,
my kids were not happy about it. And, but, you know, I just felt like this is my shot and I'm going to take it. And, you know, they're going to go on and live their lives and they'll be fine. And they are. As far as my ex-husband goes, you know, there's some obviously things in there I didn't put in there that are, you know, personal to him, and I wouldn't do that. And, you know, legally you have to be careful. You know, and if you just have to be careful. Like, I wasn't allowed to use any brand names, you know, my Doritos, I had to just call them chips. Ruined the whole thing. And
did you change names of people, Amy? Did you
change? Yes. All the names were changed. All the names were changed. But again, I mean, anybody could go online and look up who I was married to, you know. So, but yeah, you just want to be careful in that way. But, you know, you are going to hurt, you know, ruffle some feathers, probably. You got to decide, is it worth the telling? For me, it was. And so most likely for you guys, it is too.
Yeah.
Or we all wouldn't be here. So. Right.
Yeah.
So just dig deep. It's already in there. Just got to get it down.
I love that. And it's absolutely true. It is already there. Whether whatever it is that you're writing, it is already there. It's just a matter of finding it, excavating it, and bringing it to the page. Absolutely. Yeah. And I was going to say something when you talked about the name thing. Two things on that. Amy's talking about publishing too. So you can write it all out. You can write whatever you want to write, whatever detail you want to write. And I recommend that highly. But then when you go from the writing to the publishing, or the writing to the on stage, or the writing to the putting it out on the blog, that's when you have to say, okay, do I really want the world to know?
Out to public, you know, public in any form. Right. That's when you gotta be careful with names.
Yeah. But I think the first part of it, the first draft.
Oh yeah.
Let it out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a given.
As gory as those sex scenes are, let them out. Like whatever it is that you got to let out, because then you won't be able to, you know, it'll be stuck. So let it all out, and then you decide which part of this am I gonna public with. Yeah.
You can't really write it based on who's going to get hurt and who's not. If you've got a story to tell and you got to tell it, then you got to tell it. So
1000%. Yep. 1000%.
So just, you know, that's just something that was an inner conflict for me, and will probably be for you guys too, but I'm doing it. So
yeah, definitely.
All right, well, I'm going to check out, but I hope to hear and read everybody's stuff, and I'll certainly be checking in, and it's certainly nice to meet all you guys. And
Amy, did I tell you there's 2 people that aren't here?
No, you didn't mention that. Must be due to illness. It's obviously due to hair illness, I assume.
I recorded this so that they can meet all of you guys, but you'll meet them at a later date, Amy, so that you guys can also have a one-to-one.
Around.
Okay, cool.
All right, you guys, take it easy.
Thanks for coming in, Amy. Bye.
Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Okay, so Tina, you had written, are you writing by hand or typing? And I think I answered that by hand, if you're good with that. And after you write by hand, if there's something that you are going to want to put on your computer because it's something that you're like, okay, this is something that has wheels or whatever, then you would transcribe it.
To clarify that, do you mean the journaling we do? Because actually the depth of the writing, to write it by hand, it's going to be difficult.
What
do you want it all written by hand?
I will give you a prompt every day. And my suggestion is 10 minutes. That's it. Just 10 minutes. Normally 10 minutes for me is 3 pages. I mean, it may be a little bit more, it may be a little less, but it's not a lot. It's 10 minutes. Even if that 10 minutes is, I can't write, it's 10 minutes of pen on paper, don't lift it up, don't, check for spelling, don't let critic come in. Like, it's just 10 minutes of letting it out, kind of stream of consciousness, or some people call it channel writing, automatic writing, whatever it is. It's that 10 minutes. After you've written your 10 minutes, you might have a paragraph in there that is just like a little story nugget. And you go, whoa, that's interesting. I wonder where that came from. And then you go back to, I can't write or whatever, or you go off on a different tangent. That little nugget, that's what I say, bring that over to your computer, type it on your computer, and just name it. Just give it a file name, just any file name at all. Day one, write, or ideas about George, or whatever you want to do, and just keep that. And then at a later date, you're going to go back to that and say, okay, let me see what that's all about. I want to expand upon that. So does that clarify it?
I think so. So what you're saying is for the 10-minute prompting, that is by hand.
That's the by hand. That's right.
But then when I really get into the meat of writing, I can do on the.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because my handwriting is awful. Most of the time when I'm writing on the journal, I can't even read what I'm writing. I have to literally slow down. But you know what? That's part of the process. Slowing down your mind so that you're slowing down your writing, so that something, is allowed to break through. Because sometimes we write so fast because we're avoiding what we really want to say. And then we slow down. We're going, oh, that's why I was writing so fast. I didn't want to get into that. So sometimes the handwriting will force you to slow down and things will come up. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, when you get to the writing, of course, on the computer, because
Okay. Yes.
All right, great. Katie, you want to come back to your point or your question or your whatever?
Yeah. I just wanted to toss in with what you just said. I bought this vintage typewriter a few years ago after my friend lent me one. And oh my God, did I really have to just think about why am I sitting down here? I can't write about complaining about everything. Like, what am I getting at? And I loved it. And I loved the visceralness of it. So my question was like, I have a pretty clear idea of the focus that I want to write about. And when I've been in places, when I've done a workshop before through a lens, the prompts, writing through that lens, that's what I should be doing. Sometimes that's a blockage. And I don't know, I just wanted to toss that out there.
And that's fine. The prompts are suggestions. They're always suggestions. If you start on the prompt and it's not working for you, then I always say, take the detour. Always 1000% take the detour. If you start on the prompt, I suggest that you read it. It might bring something up. You might start on that, and then you might completely take the detour and write on something else. Sometimes a character will come up. Sometimes, something else will come up that, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. And you're writing those 10 minutes, you came to a detour, take it. by all means take it. Don't feel like you have to like reel it back into, oh yeah, the prompt is supposed to be my childhood, bicycle or whatever. Like, don't feel forced to stay within the parameters of the prompt. Take the detour if you want to take the detour, and use those 10 minutes. The idea with the 10 minutes, again, it's by hand, letting it out, whatever is there, just the process, the writing process. And that's different than the writing product. So the 10 minutes is process, process, process. And then when you get to product, it might be right after that. You might say, okay, I did my 10 minutes. Now I'm going to go to working on my short story or my poem or my script. Or you might get to the product writing later that day, but you've already done your practice. And so the practice is what the 10 minutes is all about. Okay. And like I said, something might come out of that practice or not. But when you sit down to write your product, you've already done the practice. So your product writing will be, in my experience, less of a inner critic bothering you because you already got that stuff out.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But yeah, please don't feel like if the detour is in front of you, take it. Yeah, with the process writing. Okay, cool. Great. All right. Does anyone else
have a question? But I just wanted to share that like last week in preparation of this, I was doing a lot of just like, I don't know, Googling stuff, like whether people write or type. Mm-hmm. And even, I can't remember the names, but even like screenwriters, like some of the most famous ones, like some of them will still write it out and then they move it to the computer. That's where they start editing it and stuff. It's a little harder to edit on paper, I guess.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe you do like double space or something.
Yeah.
And then I was reading like all the different types of writing, like I forget what they are now, like narrative, technical, professional, like business, that kind of stuff. But the real thing was that about like, that's why I think this structure is going to be so helpful for all of us, because it's like getting in the seat. It's like anything else where whether you want to exercise or meditate or whatnot, like you just have to do it, and accountability and all that. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah, and see what part of it works for you. I mean, we're going to talk tomorrow a little bit more about the process of yogic writing as opposed to any other journal writing or whatever. And what I have found works for me, and I want to share with you. It may or may not work with you, but and we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to be offering a lot of different kinds of exercises to get to the writing. But some of it will resonate and some of it won't. So that's, you're all going to obviously have what works for you is going to be different for all of us, just like anything, just like any, yoga class or any class or anything that you do. So
and one other thing I want to say is that I a lot of the articles or whatever I found that I was reading, again, random stuff. So was saying that like a lot of time you have to be careful if you have let's say you like to read, and then you start kind of writing like the people that you like to, like the authors that you like to read. So at first I started feeling like a little inferior because I'm kind of like a short attention span here. This is why I think I'm short stories. Like that is what I like to read, but I don't have a specific author. I'm a magazine reader. I mean, I can read a book. Once I get into it, I really get into it. But it's almost like starting and then little chunks. Like some people say they read a book in like a weekend. That's not me. I'm like the little chunk kind of thing. In a way I started second guessing, like, well, maybe I'm not well read. Now I don't even know what styles of writing out there. And like, I think I'm a good writer. But I somehow grounded myself and thought that the less I know about other authors will mean that my own writing style will really be my writing style. Because mine's a mix of whatever I've experienced over life. So I don't have a favorite author. I'm not going to copy a favorite author. I don't know. I think it's going to be so much fun. So excuse my babbling.
No, that's good. There's a lot of people, there's two different schools of thought on that. One is keep reading. And the other is when you're writing, don't read. There's two really different. Katie, you're nodding your head. Do you have something to say about that?
Yeah, well, no, I'm just so glad that you brought that up, Rebecca, because I was listening to this fertility podcast, this couple going through it. And there was some stuff that they brought up that I was like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah. And it was speaking to some of my experience, but I don't want to take that. I don't want to absorb and adopt what they're saying.
Yep.
make it my own. I mean, what they were speaking about in particular was how much you get sick of hearing about the journey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like at the end of this journey, you're gonna like fuck the journey, you know, go over the journey and making it all. And I was like, that is so true, and it's so genius. But then I had, similar to what you're talking about, Rebecca, like a fear of I'm just taking material from other people.
Don't worry about that. Completely don't worry about that. That's your inner critic that's sitting right there going, you're not good enough. That one's better than you. That one, they're saying the right thing. You don't need to say it. Just say, thank you very much, fuck you, or whatever you're going to say to that inner critic. But when that stuff will come up, like they did it better. Their book is better. The book that I wanted to write is already written. Throw it out the door, because there's only one of you, and you can only say it the way that you say it. And, you know, and I'm of the opinion that like everything that needs to be said is already said anyway. It's just you're going to say it in a way that is authentic to you. So, yeah. But that does come up. Oh my God, it comes up with everybody. It comes up with every writer that I know. Like, why am I writing this book? Somebody already wrote it and it's better. So, you know, that's just your inner critic telling you you're not good enough. So I'm here to tell you that you are. So don't worry about it. Okay. Anyone else? Yeah. Great. So are we all good for tomorrow at 10 in the morning? Okay. So if you have a conflict at any time and you can't, just let me know. Either send me a text or an email or Facebook, whatever, because this is, like I said, this is a big commitment on your part. And of course, life happens and life gets in the middle of it. But I always like to know, okay, that person's not going to be here, just so that I know. And sometimes it will mean that I'll record it so that that person can listen to it later. Because typically I don't record stuff. I feel kind of weird about that. But if I know that there's people that would benefit from hearing it, then I would record it. So if you know you're not going to be there, then let me know. And that's, I think that's it. I think that's about it.
Rebecca, can you stay on for 1 second?
Sure. Yeah, I can stay
All right,
on.
we'll see you ladies tomorrow.
Great. See you all tomorrow morning. Same Zoom channel, same Zoom password, and all of that good stuff. Great, great.
Awesome. Love the Batman reference. I did watch a lot of TV, but I wasn't reading books.
That's all good.
I was gonna say I might be getting married